Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today guys, we are going to be reading Toby's story, chapter 14, and guys, let's get started and dive right into the book. Also guys, do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment all down below to my cousin's channels and my channel too, and guys, yeah, let's get started. Chapter 14. That was the last time I saw the particular friend. When I woke up, I was back in my own bed. It was funny. I got up and shook and trotted through the halls, sniffing to see if I could smell him anywhere, but I could not. He was gone. It was confusing. But there were still a lot of people to greet me and pet me and call me a good boy. As I wandered around my home, this didn't mean, though, that everything was normal, because I was slept out in the yard, and the next day, Tyler came to get me in the morning for another run. Running was the best. Today, there was a squirrel to chase up a tree, and 2 trash cans to sniff, and several new friends to greet. Cute dog, they say. Can I pet them? Can my kids say hi? We'd stop so I could sniff new hands and look new faces. And then we were off again, moving fast, with the wind in my nose and the freshness of the new smells greeting me with every step. That day we did something even more exciting than usual. After jogging along a paved street for a while, Tyler turned a corner and we were on a dirt road. Dirt! I loved running on dirt. It felt softer to my paws, and it smelled so much better. That day had black surface that cars roll on. And then Tyler took off my leash. Fantastic! I could race ahead and come back to him, or dash to investigate clumps of grass, or catch grasshoppers to grab sticks. This was the best run we ever been on. Crows, this was the best run we had ever been on. Crows flew ahead, and I barked to let them know that we were running, and they could come with us if they'd like. But they didn't pay attention. There were giant dogs in the fields next to the road with black and white splotches all over their bodies. Mostly they ignored us, but I barked at them too, just because a warm breeze rushed past, lifting my ears, a little ruffling my fur. My ears perked up. I lifted my nose high and sniffed with all my might. That breeze had brought a familiar scent with it. Tyler was a few feet behind me, and he was starting to breathe in big gasps. Okay, Toby, he wheezed. He stopped running and stood with his hands on his knees. Toby, time to head home. Home. I heard him say my name, but I didn't turn back to him. That sense, it had been a long time since I'd smelled it. It was telling me of something just up ahead. Toby, Tyler called, but he didn't say come, so I knew we weren't doing training. We were just running, and so I ran. Toby, no, where are you going? Tyler yelled, but I was far ahead of him now. That the smell grew stronger with every step. with every this the Toby, no, where are you going? Tyler yelled, but I was far ahead of him now. The smell grew stronger, and with every step, I recognized it. It was chickens and big dogs, and growing things. It was my first home, the ranch, and I loved it. And I was there. Tyler was far enough back on the road that he could not stop me from wiggling under the rail of a noisy machine across the grass. But I didn't stop to greet him. The best scent of all in my nose, Sadie, my mother. She was lying in the sun beside the house with a braided rope in her mouth. Her head jerked up as she came tearing through the grass, and she jumped to her feet. I tumbled into her, my tail wagging so hard it nearly toppled me over. She sniffed me as eagerly as I sniffed her, and I was so happy I had to do something with my feelings. I leaped on the rope, grabbed it between my teeth, and shook it hard. Sadie was as happy as I was. I could tell because she snatched the rope too. And we had a great game of tug until she pulled too hard and I rolled over and over in the grass. Well, said the man who had been pushing the machine. Where did you come from, huh? He'd left the machine and was standing watching us play. Now he held out a hand and trotted up to him. Smell in his hands and the soft shirt he had on, with its scent of sweet and dirt and grass. Walt! Wow! Well, I think you're out of one of mine, Walt said, petting me. Glad to be home, huh? Let me see your collar. He tugged gently on the metal tags that hung from the collar around my neck. Toby, really, you're Toby. You're Toby. I licked him from saying my name. From saying my name, and for being Walt, and for being there while I was so happy to see my mother again. She came and licked him too. And then someone else called my name. Toby, I'm sorry he got away from me. Toby! Tyler climbed over the fence that I had crawled under and jogged up to us, breathing hard. This is your dog, Walt asked. This is your dog? Walt asked him. No, that's Toby, Tyler said, holding out his hand to me. When I trotted over to lick him too. To show that I was happy, he had joined the reunion. He snapped my leash onto my collar that didn't seem quite fair. How was I supposed to play with my mother now? Tyler went on, but wait. That didn't seem quite fair. How was I supposed to play with my mother now? He lives at the assisted living place, Tyler went on, but I take him for a run sometimes. The assisted living place? That's 6 miles down the road, Walt said. You ran all that way with Toby? Tyler nodded. Walt shook his head. I could hardly believe it. Once that little guy would run to save his life. Tyler looked puzzled, and Walt chuckled. Yeah, I guess you don't know, but he was born here. That's Sadie, his mother. No wonder he came tearing in like a rocket. No kidding, Tyler grinned and petted my mother. who greeted him happily and then came back to sniff me some more. Toby, that's why you took off like that. I was worried I was going to lose you. Well, he's a fine-looking dog now, Walt said. I never would have thought he'd grown up like that. And he's still at that assisted living place working there? Tyler nodded. Good, Walt said. He's got a purpose then. All dogs need a purpose. They need a job to do. And he ran 6 miles. He looked impressed. You two want a ride back? I can take you in the truck. Tyler shook his head. No thanks. We'll get back. I'll have to stick with it. Or I'm not going to get better, and I have to get better soon. Suddenly, he sounded sad. What a strange time to be sad. I licked his knees, which tasted sweaty and delicious. Then I licked my mother's nose and the toe of Walt's shoe. Well, good for you, Walt said. But I'll get you something to drink before you go, and some water for Toby. Walt gave me a delicious bowl of cool water. Fabulous. He handed Tyler something yellow and sweet-smelling in a glass. Since people don't like to drink out of bowls, I don't know why, Tyler guzzled down his drink almost as fast as I drank my water. Then he said goodbye to Walt, and I said goodbye to my mother, Sadie, and we started running again, slower than before but steadily, heading home. I thought about Sadie, my mother. I trotted by Tyler's side. Sadie belonged to Walt. She had stayed there with him even when my brothers and sisters and I all left. Now I was leaving again with Tyler. Maybe I belonged to Tyler after all, but I wasn't sure about that. I hoped one day I would find out. After that, Tyler and I ran most days. I always got excited to see him in the mornings where am I? I also got excited to see him in the mornings when he was wearing his white shoes that smelled like rubber and tar and dirt from the street and sweat from his feet. Such a delicious odor. I couldn't understand why he didn't wear those shoes all the time. When I smelled those shoes on his feet, it usually meant that we were going on a run to the ranch. Sadie and I would sniff each other and play chase and wrestle, and it's my stick and you can't have it. And Tyler and Walt would watch us and laugh. Then Tyler would drink a glass of sweet yellow stuff and we'd run back one day. To my surprise, we ran past the ranch. I stopped and whined, reminding Tyler of the way we were supposed to. That day, Tyler kept my leash on, and he pulled at me, insisting that we go his way. What are we doing? Wait and see, Toby, he told me, and he ran longer on the dirt road than we had ever done. Finally, we turned around, and then we went to the ranch so that my mother and I could play. At last, when we returned to my home after these runs, I was always tired and ready for a big drink and a good nap. Tyler would hand my leash to Mona, and she'd usually take me to rest on a bed with one of my friends. Lie still, she said. Lie still. Sometimes I wondered if she'd forgotten that my name was Toby and decided to call me Lie Still instead. Tyler came to visit other times too. Not not just in the morning for our runs out afternoon. One afternoon, Mana saw him come in front of the door. She had me on a leash, and she and I went up to greet him. I sniffed his shoes, and they were not the merely smelly ones he wore when we ran. I was still glad to see him, so I jumped up and put my paws on his knees to tell him so. Are you going to visit your grandfather? Mana asked. Could Toby practice lie still with him? I'm sure he'd love that. Love that, Tyler said, scratching behind my ears. I knew the word love, but it was funny how sad Tyler's voice sounded when he said it. Love was not a sad word. Okay, come on, Toby, Mana said. Come with us. I knew come too. So I followed her down the hall to Granddad's room. I was glad to see him, so I leaped up on the bed and put my paws on the book he was reading, so that I could lick his chin. No, Toby, Mana said, lie still. That again? I sat down and wagged my tail, looking at her hopefully to see if this would please her. She was standing next to Tyler. She sighed that morning. She sighed that morning. Tyler and I had been on a good long run, and I'd had a marvelous game of you can't catch me with my mother. When I saw Tyler, I thought about running to the ranch. And that made me think of taking a nap. I'd taken a nap next to Dorothy after our run this morning. When I woke up, Mana had told me, good dog, Toby, good, lie still. Now on Granddad's bed, I tilted my head to look at Mana in puzzlement. Was I a good dog for napping? Napping did not seem like my other tricks. It was not like sit or down or shake. It was just napping because I was sleepy. But Mana said I was a good dog when I napped. Other times, I was not always a good dog, but every time I napped after a run, I was that lie still. I wasn't very sleepy now, but it seemed to make Mana so happy when I just lay there, lie still, maybe even though I wasn't tired. I'd pretended to take a nap. Maybe that would make Mana happy. I curled up next to Granddad's side. The warmth of his body felt good next to mine. I sighed without thinking about it, just as often did when I was ready for a nap. Oh, good boy, Toby, Mana said. Don't move, Granddad, Tyler said. Good, Toby, good, lie still. Mana praised. She was happy. I was a good dog. I wagged the very tip of my tail, just so that she would know. I heard her. I knew what lie still meant now. Mana came to the bed and stroked her hands along my back, telling me over and over that I was a good boy, that I was doing a good lie still. Tyler came and petted me too, which was very nice. Tyler came and petted me too, which was very nice. 2 hands rubbing my back made me wiggle with delight. But then I remembered that lie still meant pretending napping, and I forced myself to be quiet again. Mana, you did great. Mana, you did it. He's got it. Tyler was grinning. You're a great dog trainer. He picked up his hand from my back. He reached to put it on my head again. but Mana's hands was already there. Tyler left his hand on Mana's. They both stopped petting me until I picked up my head and looked at them with a bit of reproach in my eyes. Wasn't I doing a good lie still? Wasn't this what they both wanted? Why had they stopped telling me that I was a good dog? I was good dog. I was. They remembered then and petted me some more. Sometimes people just needed reminding. Chapter 15, guys. So, guys, we're going to end this video right here. And, guys, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. And so, yeah, guys, don't forget to subscribe and like and comment all down below. And, guys, this is the end of the video. And bye.